Alright guys, so I thought today I would try to do the absolute basics of blues slide. And why I say absolute basics is because I am by no means a really good blues slide guitar player. And so this is just me passing on the basics that I've learned, enough to get by like not even the full depth of some of the really good slide blues guitar players. I mainly listen to guys like Charlie Patton, or even Robert Johnson did some slide. Obviously Muddy Waters was a really good slide player, and I am nowhere close to on par with any of those guys, Sunhouse, any of that. But these are like the basics. So I hope this video you find helpful, at least to get you started, and then there's probably a whole lot more on YouTube and elsewhere that you could find that would take you even deeper into this. Okay, but I do find this helpful, so we're just going to look at open G, because there's a lot of blues in open G when we're talking about slide guitar. So open G, if you don't know, this is how you would tune your guitar. You would tune the low E string down to a D, then you would tune the A string down to a G, then the D stays the same, the G stays the same, your B stays the same, and then your high E turns into a D. Okay, so I'm just going to show you how to play like the most basic 12-bar blues that you can possibly play, and then you guys can add some stuff to it if you'd like, okay? So, we're just going to play an open 12-bar in G, and then we'll go from there. So, first thing is a walk down when you're playing open G, which, if you know blues, has got it in blues, right? It's going to sound like this. So what that is, very simple with the open tuning. You're going to use your middle finger or your pointer finger, it really doesn't matter. So I like to, just word of advice, I like to put my slide on my pinky. Now there are other people that put it on their ring finger. It's really up to you and how you want to do it. I like to put it on my pinky because it frees up these other three fingers to play some things. One of these shapes I'll show you, you'll need these three. But if you play it with your ring finger, you know, you can do that as well. I prefer to use it on my pinky, but either way. Okay, so that out of the way, let's go ahead and get started. So the turnaround is you're gonna pluck your open A string. Now I'm gonna say the strings in standard, but you know the notes are different. Okay, so you're plucking your open A string. That's just less confusing this way, I think. So you're plucking your open A string, and then you're gonna go down to the 3rd fret of the D string, and then you can just kind of pluck. So you pluck it one time, and then that's what it's gonna sound like. You're pinching with your middle and your pointer finger on your right hand. You got those, your pointing fingers on the G string, your middle fingers on the B string, and then you're plucking the D string here. And you're just kind of pinching them together. And so it's the 3rd fret of the D string, open on the G and the B, okay? 2nd fret of the D, 1st fret of the D, and then open. And then what you want to do is you want to hit the 5th chord. Alright, so then you're going to take your slide, and you're going to slide from anywhere, and you want to go up to the 7th fret. Now here's the thing about slide. When you're playing a note with your fingers and you play it, you want it right behind the fret so that there's no buzzing, right? You don't want to hear buzzing. Or too far back, still some buzzing there. You want to get it as close as you can without touching the fret. When you're doing slide, you want the slide to rest on that actual fret. So in this case, if we're doing the 7th fret, the way you find it is you go to the 7th fret, but rather than play behind it, you want to play right over that metal. Okay, so it's kind of hard to see here, but this is right over that metal, and that's going to give you the best sound you can get. Okay, so that'd be the turnaround. And you can pluck as many strings as you want, or they all sound good, with the exception of like the low E. I wouldn't do that. But I usually just kind of pinch the A, D, G, and B. And then a classic that's only like 2 notes there is the D string. So you slide to the D string of the 3rd fret with your slide, and then the D string of the 2nd fret, okay? And then open, and then you're ready to start. Now this is kind of a cool thing you can do just while you're playing the G. You hear this in Walking Blues when Clapton does it on the Unplugged album. Eric Clapton does it. But it's also from a Muddy Waters song, I Feel Like Going Home. So it's kind of the same thing. But it's a cool thing that you can do over the G chord. So what that would be is you are plucking the D string, the G string, and the B string again. And then you're kind of like a half walk down. You do 3 on the D string, 2 on the D string, open, and then you slide real quick, pluck the D and the G, and you slide to the 3rd fret, and then you pull off. So it sounds like this. Now another thing you can do, another cool shape I think, over the G, the 1 chord in this case, is down here. Now I think I hear this in like Stones in My Pathway or Terraplane Blues from Robert Johnson. Alright, so what that would be is you're going to pluck the A string open, you're going to kind of palm mute it. Then the shape underneath is you've got your pointer finger on the 5th fret of the high E, your middle finger is on the 6th fret of the B, and then your ring finger is on the 7th fret of the G. So these are 2 options you have. And you kind of mix them too. I think it would sound kind of cool. And then you're ready to go to your second section of the blues, the 12-bar blues, which is your 4 chord. So in this case, it would be a C. Now you got 2 options here. If you didn't want to play it with a slide, and again you hear this in like a lot of Robert Johnson stuff, you could do this. You could bar all the way from the A string all the way down to the E string with your pointer finger on the 5th fret. Okay, and then that allows you, this is a stretch here, but that allows you to use your ring finger, and you can play the 8th fret of the high E and the 7th fret of the high E and kind of walk down there. So it'd sound like. And now, of course, with it being slide, the other thing you can do is just slide and let it kind of rest over the 5th fret and play those same notes. Okay, and then your last thing is to go would be the 5th fret, or excuse me, the 5th chord of our 12-bar blues, in this case a D. And you can do the same thing. So if you ever listen to Next Door Neighbor Blues by Gary Clark Jr., he does a lot of this. So again, that's just barring the 7th fret on the A all the way down to the high E, and then using your ring finger to grab, in this case it would be the 10th fret of the high E and the 9th fret of the high E. Or you can use a slide and just cover up that 7th fret. And then make sure you go back to your C, and then end with a turnaround. And then a really cool thing to end the song, you can slide down to the 12th fret, and that's your open G. So let me know in the comments below if you found this helpful. Again, I disclaimed it at the beginning, I am not an expert on slide blues. I am still very much learning on slide blues, but I thought I would share a little bit of the basics that I have tried to pick up over some time doing this. I need to dedicate more time, as evident probably in this lesson, but I hope you found some of this helpful, and maybe you can even leave something in the comments below that I can look into, because I'm always trying to figure out more stuff on slide blues.